In this video, I'm going to break down the first wing of the new Dark Citadel Co-Op Dungeon in Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, the Enclave of Strife. This will cover each and every single area, as well as all of the major boss mechanics. Just as a quick note, this video was recorded during an early preview build of the game, so some aspects may change at or post-launch. The Dark Citadel is located in the Restless Canopy region of Nahantu, beyond the Path of Reckoning. Once inside the Ancient Nexus, the Enclave is the doorway to your left. The Enclave of Strife begins with the Path of the Initiate. Here, you'll find yourself fighting through packs of Khazra, much like a traditional dungeon. You'll have an optional objective here to slay the Treasury Wardens, which will increase your bonus on the right, increasing your reward tier. The Wardens are indicated with this symbol on your minimap. Generally, you'll be able to fill this bar up about halfway on this floor, so don't worry if you can't find any more Wardens. When you've finished hunting the Warden, you'll then want to keep an eye out for this doorway symbol. Take this doorway to the Crystalline Chamber. Once inside the chamber, you'll find a pair of soul siphons. Activate these siphons, which will create rings around them. Your party should split up and defeat monsters within these rings. Once a siphon is satisfied, the circle will fade and it will spawn a Ward Guardian. Defeat both Ward Guardians to obtain Ward Stones, which are these small greenish glowing orbs. You can then take these Ward Stones to the other end of the room and deposit them into the ceiling wards. Once both wards have their stones, the gate will open and let you pass. You've now made it to the Halls of Judgement. These halls function identically to the Path of the Initiate, which was the first area that we encountered. Slay your Treasury Wardens if you choose to do so. If you're trying to increase your reward tier, you should be able to max it out to 4 of 4 here, and then make your way to the next doorway. Beyond the doorway, you'll find 2 gates, one teal and the other gold. There will be a small button on the floor in front of one of these gates. One player will have to stand on this button to open the opposite gate. One half of your party can now enter the open gateway, revealing another button that opens the other gate. This lets the player standing on the button enter the other half of the dungeon. In teams of 2 or 4, you'll want to split up evenly. If you're running with a team of 3, I'd recommend sending your strongest player alone on either side. Once everyone is through these gates, both sides will reach identical yet mirrored rooms, named the Trial of Reflection. In these rooms, there will be a handful of monsters. At this point, you'll notice a timer appears on the top right-hand side of your screen, labeled Impending Doom. This bar grows slowly over time, and if it fills up, your entire party will die immediately. Hardcore players beware. This serves as a DPS check to ensure that both sides of players are strong enough for the dungeon. You'll notice 4 gates here, accompanied by 1 button each. These buttons open the corresponding gate, which you can use to let out the Ward Guardian and defeat it. The Ward Guardian can be seen on the minimap so you know which door to open. The Ward Guardian will drop a Ward Stone, similar to what we saw in the Crystalline Chamber. Place it in the ceiling ward to remove the barrier at the end of the room. You won't be able to leave until both sides finish their room and deposit their Ward Stones. Once you leave this room, you'll find yourself in another room that looks very similar. Also notice the Impending Doom meter from the previous room persists into this one. In this room, you'll see another Soul Siphon. Both sides will have to satisfy their respective Soul Siphon and then defeat the Ward Guardian to get the next Ward Stone. If both sides are able to deposit the Ward Stones into the ceiling wards and successfully pass through the double gate, your Impending Doom will now fade and you'll be safe from sudden death, for now. You'll then pass back into the Halls of Judgment and rejoin your team. You'll then find your first treasury chest, based on the tier you achieved during the previous phases of the dungeon. You can now enter the Passage of Enlightenment as a team, where you'll fight your way through demons until you find a circular gateway on the floor. Stay near the gateway and fight off Realm Guardians to obtain Realm Shards. Realm Shards are like small green anima, which you can collect by walking over, and then deposit into the gateway by walking over it. You'll know you deposited one if the circular ring around the edge of the gateway lights up another section. Once the ring is complete, the gateway will open and you can stand on it to pass through. This will transport you to the Realm of Oblivion. Nearby, you should notice a magic dome. This dome is a soul dampener. Spend too much time outside of these and you'll notice this symbol above your head begin to fill. If this symbol fills completely, similar to Impending Doom, you will die. The soul dampener will emit magic pulses in one direction. Follow these pulses to traverse through the Realm of Oblivion. There are additional dampeners in the zone, but sometimes they can be easy to miss, but they're usually just off of your path. If you see one, step inside the dome to reset your meter, and then head back into Oblivion until you reach the second gateway. This behaves the same way as the previous, where you'll need to collect Realm Shards from the Realm Guardians, but don't forget the death meter over your head. Luckily, you'll have a soul dampener nearby, so you can reset it if needed. Once you've deposited enough Realm Shards into the gateway, activate it and head back out. You'll now find yourself in Warrior's Mark. This is much like the Path of the Initiate, where you can once again choose to go after the Treasury Wardens to increase your rewards. Once you're done in this area, head to the next doorway. Beyond this door is Ascendant's Gate, where you'll encounter the first boss within the Enclave of Strife. This is Kubal, the Shadowbreaker. Kubal has a handful of different attacks that you can expect to encounter. Kubal will dart around the area, locking onto players and shooting projectiles. Kubal has a 360-degree blood dart attack that will shoot in a dozen or so directions. There will be red, shade-like enemies that spawn, similar to the ones that you encounter in the Pit of the Artificer, that will launch blood waves across the area. Kubal will also select players with red rings, that will then drop soul bombs after a short duration. These can be placed strategically to avoid filling the room with these puddles. Kubal shouldn't be too much of a challenge to overcome. Once defeated, you'll be rewarded with some shiny new loot. Once you've checked all your goodies, we continue into the back half of the Warrior's Mark. This is where you'll pick up the remainder of your Khazra Treasury bonus, if you choose to do so. Once completed, head to the doorway that leads to the Chamber of Ascendancy. Prepare yourself for the final boss of the Enclave of Strife. After dispatching a few Khazra Breathtakers, you're introduced to Gorschak, the First Ascendant, and he's not too happy to see you. He'll start swinging his mace wildly, and launching himself at you with a shoulder tackle. Additionally, monsters will periodically spawn around the room. Once Gorschak reaches 2/3 health, he'll become invulnerable, and begin to spawn Realm Guardians. You'll be reintroduced to your good friend, Impending Doom! Similar to earlier in the dungeon, defeating these Realm Guardians will drop Soul Essence, which you can drop into the gateway in the center of the room, until it's ready to be activated. At this point, you'll have to split up again. Half of your party will want to take the gateway, while the other half will remain in Gorschak's room. The player or team that remains in Gorschak's room will essentially have to redo the portion of the fight that we just did, defeating Realm Guardians to obtain Soul Essence and reactivate the gateway. However, Gorschak looks to have picked up a few new tricks during this phase, like blood projectiles shooting from his mace when he swings, slamming the ground to create giant blood puddles, and then similar to what we saw during the Kubal boss fight, players will also be selected with a blood circle, leaving behind a soul bomb. Once you've gotten enough soul essences into the gateway, be ready to open it for the other half of your team, so that they can rejoin the fight. Now let's take a look at the other half of the fight. When you're on the team that decides to take Gorschak's gateway, you'll find yourself in a shadowy room that resembles the Realm of Oblivion that we encountered earlier in the dungeon. This also brings back the death meter over your head, so pay attention to that as your time here is limited. Here, you'll want to quickly eliminate the Ward Guardians to collect Ward Stones, to deposit into the Sealing Wards. And once both of these wards are dispelled, you'll summon the Fragmented Soul of Gorschak. This variant of Gorschak has much less health and can be dealt with much more quickly. Defeating him grants a Soul Essence. Once you've obtained the Soul Essence, this is where you'll want the team on the other side to activate the gateway to allow you to bring the Soul Essence back to Sanctuary. Once you've rejoined the rest of your team, deposit the Soul Essence into the Conduit of Souls near the top of the map. This will make Gorschak vulnerable once again, and you can damage him down to 1/3 health. At this point, Gorschak will become immune once more, and you can repeat the process, allowing the parties to reverse roles to experience the full fight. Once the second Soul Essence has been restored to the Conduit of Souls, Gorschak will become attackable again, and can now be defeated. Congratulations! You've just completed the first wing in the Dark Citadel. Don't forget to pick up your loot on the way out. Hell yeah!
You did it!
If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe, and head over to twitch.tv/Rizarjay, where I'll be streaming Vessel of Hatred almost every single day. Thanks for watching.